Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, for this one, this is a particular PDF straight from regulations.gov, which is why you kind of see it as a Google search right now. I'm going to try to pull it up. You might see the camera disappear, which I don't have the best lighting in the world, so not too worried about that. We are going in. This is the comments as of right now in regards to the newly released kind of new, because everything regards to state and federal move at an absolute snail's pace in regards to some of the comments on the FDA new proposed rule to ban the GED device. So we're going to be reading through some of this, but before we do, real quick, to the disclaimers, folks. All right. Speaking of, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take a look at the article written by Neuroclastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that so much. They threatened Neuroclastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Neuroclastic refused, so folks, you know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is Neuroclastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please make sure to go ahead and utilize your headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion, and we speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger, and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised. Also, trigger warning. From what I was seeing when I did this search earlier this morning, the comments we are going to be reading is on the behalf of the parents that, through reasons I can't comprehend, justify, understand, or wrap my brain around, are parents who will defend the JRC's torture of their children to their death. They're willing to die on that hill. Now, what I have often found in regards to the parents that do support the JRC 100% is they tend to be split into two different categories. Category 1 is some of the most narcissistic, self-righteous, condescending, the worst of the worst when it comes to human beings on Earth. And the reason why they support the JRC is they don't care what the JRC does to their kids. They are just afraid that if their kids get removed off the device that they might get stuck with their own kids again. And they will try to move heaven and earth to, not actually have to do their jobs as parents. The second group is what I call the true believers. These are often individuals that you can see, they're the kind that get conned into cults. We've seen things like it out there in the world, and it doesn't matter what facts, video surveillance footage, ER medical documentation that you are putting right within their line of sight, they're going to scream to infinity that it's all some giant conspiracy to bury the JRC for reasons they can't seem to, put to words. Right? Yeah. I'm telling you this because in the past on this channel, we have read through some of the most disgusting, vile, awful type of comments on planet Earth. They are opening comments again. So, if you expect them to be any different this time around, allow me, before we start getting into this document, to go ahead and make sure you're prepared now. The stupid, the vicious stupid is coming. Alright? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go here. This was let out in the summer. And boy, was it fun trying to find this thing earlier today. Okay, so this is docket number FDA 2023 ban devices proposal to ban electrical stimulation devices for self-injurious or aggressive behaviors. Comments on in opposition and request for hearing by JRC parents. So in other words, they want a full repeat of what happened last time. To put it in, it's a trick. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be blunt. It's a trick. The trick is if we get another thing where we literally redo all the same shit that took place from 2014 to 2020, where you have almost a decade of dealing with this ban, it's a ploy to get time. Because when the JRC gets time, that frees up their hands to grease palms, to have parents repeatedly submit the same questions and comments over and over and over again to essentially wear out the poor FDA panel. While in the background, they are using their scuzzy as lawyers to harass the FDA, to essentially try to do again what they did in 2021. The only good news is they cannot use the same argument as the ones they used that got the original ban overturned. Because Congress has confirmed that the FDA, in actuality, 100% does have the authority to see that rule get pushed through and enforce it. So, in just a weird way, I kind of wonder what argument they're going to try to push this time, because their main argument that got it overturned has been reversed in their faces. How you like that egg in your face, JRC? Because hopefully, God willing, you're going to start dealing with a whole lot more of egg in the face. But anyways, before I go off on a rant, let's go ahead and get this started here. This comment registers objections on the behalf of parents and court-appointed guardians of the patients at the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, Incorporated. Remember, in regards to guardians, if parents weren't willing to play ball and give the JRC consent to stick a GED device on them, they would then threaten those parents that they would remove their parental rights and that they would give it over to a court-appointed guardian that would give consent. So, in regards to guardians, but don't their objections matter? Allow me to be blunt. No. Okay? No. Not even remotely. Okay? Just saying. Now, let me get in further here. Who currently receive treatment with aversive conditioning devices, which the FDA characterizes as electrical stimulation devices, as part of their treatment plans. The JRC Parents and Friends Association. Children are currently receiving the treatment, and those who could be eligible to receive it have deemed necessary by their parents and guardians, medical professionals, and a court in a substituted judgment proceeding, and the patients themselves, collectively the parties or the parents. In other words, you can't sit there and saying, but they consented, when very obviously the kids are not consenting, their parents are. And also, allow me to say it for the billionth time. When we are forced into these horrific places, and they say, well, your parents consented, so what? You think that justifies the abuse and torture of disabled kids because you either coerced their parents to sign it or they're true believers? But it's legal, and how do you know more better than all these medical professionals? Because the only medical professionals who agree with this insanity are the same medical professionals whose bi-weekly paycheck the JRC signs. Okay? There is no outside doctor within the state of Massachusetts that are lining these kids up to go to the JRC and be tortured. Okay? Literally not happening at all. The only medical professionals who agree with that insanity are the medical professionals who work for the JRC. Okay? As far as court appointed, I will also say this for the billionth goddamn time. Judges did not go to medical school. They did not study developmental disabilities, mental health, or gone for a mental health degree. They went to law school. Okay? Law school. And the experts that you say that they lean on in order to give an educated decision in regards to strapping a kid with a torture device, who do you think those professionals are that those judges are consulting? Because if you said it's the medical professionals with the JRC, you would be 100% correct. The argument falls on its face, and I didn't even break a sweat. I say this because every time I read their comments, I know it's bullshit. And it's not even new bullshit. It's the same regurgitated comments that they have been using literally since 2002. But if we're going to do it right, we're going to present their arguments. But I am also going to tear those arguments into itty bitty shreds and make sure you see the full context of the situation at hand. And I'll do so with a small amount of glee because there's not a damn thing that JRC can do to stop me. Just saying. All right. In addition to the objections raised in this comment, the parties join and incorporate by reference the FDA's proposed ban on electrical stimulation devices to treat self-injurious or aggressive behavior, the proposed ban. The parties also hereby request that the FDA hold an evidentiary hearing before determining whether the proposed ban will become a final rule. So, the entirety of the purpose, folks, is they are just trying to buy time. Because doing the same shit over again makes no coherent sense. We have already gone through this. We've had hearing after hearing after hearing. Medical evidence have been brought forward. Video surveillance footage has been brought forward. All the reports in regards to injuries doctors have seen when treating these poor kids in the ER has already been brought forward. There is, to my knowledge, no new evidence of any way, shape, or form that would make it necessary to go through the entire process all over again. Okay? There is no point to rehash and beat the poor horse that was already dead 10 years ago in there's no reason to rehash everything again. Everything has already been gone over in extreme detail. Extreme detail. Okay? So, the only reason why I feel like these parents in the JRC are pushing to have all the hearings and all the evidence that's already been gone over to be rehashed again is they're trying to buy time while they're trying to find the right people to influence to see if there's any way for them to be able to quash this. Because otherwise, it makes no coherent sense. Not even with the JRC special brand of stupidity does that make any kind of sense. Unless there is some new evidence out there. And I don't mean the crap they cook up continuously. I mean outside, non-biased, new evidence that they can present, then there is no reason to go and do all of this all over again. Everything that's been said, both those for and those against the JRC, has already been hashed out over a damn near decade. Okay? Congress has said the FDA has the authority to do the ban. We've already done the hearings. The only thing that a new set of hearings would do would be tiring the poor bastards on that panel being forced to listen to the regurgitated nonsense and bullshit all over again. Nobody deserves that, folks. I don't drink anymore, but the amount of how sorry I would feel if the FDA is forced to go through all of that again makes me want to, send. They need bourbon. Those poor bastards are gonna need a drink. I don't know what to tell you. It's nonsense. And I know as we start going through these comments here that it's just going to be the same regurgitation, all the same arguments that have already been answered more than sufficiently. They're trying to buy time to see who they can corrupt to get this overturned or stopped. That's all it is. That's all it is. But I'm going to go through it anyways, because I like to be through on this channel. But I thought I was going to get into the comments tonight, but yeah, just seeing this makes me agitated beyond all reason. This has dragged on decade after decade. After decade. It needs to end. We're going to go ahead and close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please, you know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time this evening. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.